Hello and welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we're discussing the 3,000 year ago war in Lost Galaxy Power Rangers. What happened, what do we know, and who were they fighting? The lore of Power Rangers is a very complicated thing. It is not like you can pull out a book and throw it down the ground and say this is exactly what happened. There is new information coming out every series that touches on some of the stuff from Mighty Morphin, but excludes a lot of the other series franchises completely. We don't know much about past great wars that happened in Mystic Force, or even other events that have forever changed Power Rangers to a whole. The main thing we're going to talk about today is Lost Galaxy Power Rangers, the war that happened 3,000 years ago. What happened? What was involved? And what were they even fighting, guys? Well, let's get right to it. We know for certain that there were 5 heroes that showed up to fight the Forces of Darkness then. While it is never said that they are Power Rangers, it is heavily hinted because of the fact that they had the Quasar Sabers. Now, it is never stated that these Quasar Sabers were pulled forth from the stones like the Lost Galaxy Rangers did, but you can kind of figure out that they probably did, or they were given the swords and then they plunged them after the battle. We can say the war probably started there on Mirrodin because that's where it seemed to have ended, per se. Now, what else do we know about this war? Well, not very much. We don't even know what exactly happened or why it even started. We just know that 5 great heroes showed up one day, fought off the Forces of Darkness, and then stabbed their swords back in those stones to be used for future generations. Now, it is assumed on many different levels that those heroes would basically live out on Mironoi, and that's how the population of Mironoi was repopulated with people. Now, we don't know if they were original human beings or not. They're never exactly said if they are fully human or a gene of human that was taken out for like a lost tribe or something. What we also know from this information that is gleaned off here and there is that the Power Rangers had another ally, per se, the Magna Defender, who was the guardian of the Lights of Orion, along with his son, Zika. Now, we know that they got caught up in the war, and Zika would die by the hands of Scorpius. So Scorpius was involved in the war 3,000 years ago. We also know in this great battle that Magna Defender gave his life and threw away the Lights of Orion to be out of Scorpius' hands, who apparently was looking for them for another 3,000 years with no avail. However, what we don't know is if Scorpius was the main bad guy or just a crime boss per se. We don't have any major thing that it insinuates that he was a galactically empire of sorts. He flew around on his little centipede ship that throughout space, but never really had a planet or a seat of power besides acting like more of a crime boss than anybody else. They knew Trakina, but they didn't look at her like some princess or future queen or empress. No, they looked at her like some type of Italian crime boss family member, per se. Like, she was heavily protected, yes, but there was no intergalactic fear, and they didn't give Scorpius King Scorpius. No, he was just Scorpius. Like the Godfather was the Godfather. But other than that, we don't know who else was involved. Now, we can assume that possibly Scorpius was a bigger name character there, but we don't know if he was the main bad guy because he wasn't destroyed by the Rangers at the end of 3,000 year ago war. So why would they put the swords away if the main villain was still around? So we can assume right then and there was somebody else 3,000 years ago that the Rangers of that time period pushed away and defeated, while Scorpius, probably taking care of the confusion of that war, swooped in, tried to find the Lights of Orion, and didn't get what he bargained for, and fled for a little bit as he was going to do stuff in the background. Didn't want to deal with these Power Rangers because he's never fully said that these Power Rangers would be there, and if he knew kind of like the battle scene of where Mironoi was, he would have gone there immediately and got the swords. It took him 3,000 years to eventually grab the swords? I don't think so. I don't think he knew anything about the Power Rangers. He was just more insinuatingly focused on the Lights of Orion itself, not really caring about anything else was going on, even that battle. He was more of a scavenger at the time who would eventually take over the place of some type of crime boss. But again, that is all just speculation, and what we can take from what we know of the past. Now, the Galactic Book also would tell us more information here and there. It does not mention Scorpius in those battles before, and I wouldn't assume he was a major threat, just sitting there every once in a while on like a little lump on a stump, just going blop, 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 and his little tentacle powers. Mind you, he didn't have a fleet, so hey. Okay, now let's get further on there. We know the Galactic Beasts were major players, and that 3 of them were lost, the 3 lost Galactic Beasts, in space, floating around for 3,000 years until they were found by Deviant. Now, the tome that we are given, the Galactic Book, tells us about this. We also know a few other information that these creatures were sentient. They weren't fully mechanical, they were biological, and then when the morphing grid energy mixed with that of the Power Rangers and these quote-unquote Zords, they would become mechanical on many different levels. So it tells you right then and there something more is going on, and we don't know exactly if those original Galactic Beasts are the same ones that fought 3,000 years ago. Now we know the 3 lost Galactic Beasts were, but they were put into a basically cryo sleep of sorts, just floating around in space like common debris. Then there is also a bunch of different weapons that have been thrown out there about the place, in truth. There is the side weapons for the Power Rangers, as well as the legendary Savage Sword, which seem to be connected to that of, well, the Quasar Sabers itself in some fashion. Swords against swords, one is meant to kill Rangers to absorb their power, while other ones are meant to defend the people. Now, let's think about that. The Great Threat might have had that Savage Sword, and it was listed inside the Galactic Tome itself. So it had some connection to that war, but we're not exactly certain what it was. But it could be something important, or it could have just been some artifact that was just lost and then no one ever talked about. However, I don't think it was. I think it was the major weapon of the main villain 3,000 years ago that fought against the original Rangers and would be quote-unquote lost. It was also stabbed in stone in a desolate planet in the middle of nowhere. Would be the perfect battle scene to basically the original Rangers fighting against this monster. Now, what exactly happened? Again, we are not certain. There's no information said, there's no naming of anybody back then, besides that we know that Scorpius and the Magna Fender fought 3,000 years ago around the same time period of this war. This is a lot of information to process, and I've been going through it rather quickly, so let's recap. We know for certain that the Quasar Sabers were put in stone 3,000 years ago after a great war of sorts. How do we know it's not just a little battle there on Miranoi? Well, we know also that the Galactic Beasts were on another planet. The Lost Galactic Beasts were floating in space on another section of space entirely after some great battle there. We also know that Scorpius was around, but nowhere near Miranoi on the other side of the galaxy entirely, looking for the Lights of Orion and attacking Magna Fender's people. This is a bigger battle on per se, but something big happened in space itself that was completely ignored on Earth entirely. Now, don't even get me started about the Lost Galaxy itself. That is a kind of a pocket dimension that was lost in between the fold of space and kind of really had nothing to do with what happened there as far as I can tell. There was just monsters there that were just hiding out there taking advantage of the situation. None of those, Captain Mutiny and the rest, don't seem like they were the ones that fought that war. Anyway, it could have been someone else, it could have been Lord Zed, it could have been something else entirely, but in truth, unless Lord Zed or some of the other major threats that would face the Rangers previously or in the future had been around that time period and the Lost Galaxy Rangers at that time 3,000 years ago had defeated him, why would they still be around? Why would that monster be around if the Lost Galaxy Rangers had defeated them entirely? I would say it's some unknown person, and even in truth, they could tie it in with the new Dino Fury that it was a Ravkonian who had gone rogue, and instead of trying to just scavenge at this point, had decided he was going to take a piece of, well, these planets for himself. Being a knight, he could have created this Savage Sword and forged out for the new hope of trying to find something new going out there. However, we don't know for certain, and it is all speculation entirely. But we do know, just from the facts, is that, well, there was some big battle happened, some forces of good fought them off, defeated them, and, well, would put the swords away for the future. Other than that, we don't know of anything else going on. We know that Scorpius was not truly involved in that battle. We also know that Magna Fender didn't seem to be allied with the other Rangers because he didn't really care about them or their battle or give them any other insight that he was involved in that battle, just going, "Where's the Lights of Orion? You're not worthy. I'm his guardian." Well, that is the little bit of history of what we know so far for the Lost Galaxy battle that happened 3,000 years ago. I know it's not much, but I hope you put this in perspective that you can create your own canon theories. In truth, I would probably say it would be a good little tie into Bodo Ravkonian looking for battle, creates a 7th sword, and, well, gets defeated. His empire scatters to the wind, becomes scavengers once again, and leaves it to that. You could say even some of the Ravkonians merged with the Myrinoian people. That's why they still look human. They don't have the antennae because eventually it was bred out of them as 3,000 years have passed through merging with the humanity on that planet. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give me a like, comment, and subscribe there. Hit that thing so we can get that good old algorithm going again and keep producing fun videos like this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any problems with this video, put it down below. Let me know if I'm an idiot and I missed certain facts, or let me know if I'm talentedly smart and should be like given an award for digging through this information. I don't know. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one, and may the power protect you always.